I'm Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guy. Royal Caribbean is about to call time on its Australian summer cruise season, and Quantum of the Seas behind me is about to set sail from Brisbane to Sydney, from where she'll continue on to the United States.
But before it does, we're getting on board to check out the first ever Quantum class ship.
Remember, when it's time to plan your next holiday, head to my website first, where you can search, compare and book. This is Quantum of the Seas, a massive floating resort packed with high-tech thrills, fine dining and glitzy entertainment. The catch? We've only got 48 hours to try as much as we can, or want. So, is a short cruise a perfect bite-sized getaway, or just an exhausting rush?
We're about to find out, so come with us.
Our journey starts at Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. Actually, it started hours before in Sydney, where we did the thing I recommend you never do: fly to your cruise port on the day of embarkation. We encountered no issues, thankfully, and arrived at the cruise terminal at 9:30. When I checked in for the cruise online, I pre-selected the earliest arrival window I could, which was 11:30. Despite this, we were allowed into the terminal at about 10:15 and were on board a little after 10:30. The cruise prior to ours was also a domestic sailing, which meant there were no customs or immigration procedures to contend with, and that definitely helped speed up the boarding process. Stepping on board, it's pretty clear that this is not going to be an ordinary weekend escape. When Quantum of the Seas launched in late 2014, she ushered in a new tech-forward era for cruising, and as the first ship in the Quantum class, it kinda was a quantum leap for the cruise line.
But first, let's check out our cabin.
For this 2-night cruise, we opted for a balcony cabin, but booked the lowest rate for a guaranteed stateroom, which meant we couldn't choose the location. In this case, we were allocated a cabin on deck 10. The balcony cabin is designed incredibly well, and it's quite spacious. There's a separate lounge area, a couple of decently sized wardrobes, and additional storage over the bed. There's also quite a few drawers in the vanity area, although bedside tables are minuscule, and there's only one US style power outlet near the beds. The beds can also be joined to form a king. Remember that suitcases can slide under the bed. There's a large private balcony as well. The bathroom is compact but really well designed. I especially love the spacious glass enclosed shower. There's a range of toiletries including body wash, shampoo, conditioner and lotion, plus a sort of do-it-all liquid wash in the shower. Cabins are only serviced once daily, which has become the norm for non-suite stateroom categories across many mainstream cruise lines in a post-pandemic world. It'll be our base for the next 2 nights, but how much time we'll actually spend here? Not sure yet. For now, we're going to go off and explore some of this giant ship.
He's better at the nerdy cruise stuff, but I do know this is a bigger ship to ever call Australia home.
Quantum is big. It's almost 170,000 gross tons. Along with her sister Ovation of the Seas, she's the largest cruise ship to regularly sail from Australia. She can hold just under 5,000 passengers when at maximum capacity, and all of those people need places to go and things to do. So these ships are packed with features and activities that were especially groundbreaking over 10 years ago when this ship launched. There's iFly skydiving, surfing and boogie boarding on the Flowrider, rock climbing, bumper cars, various sports games, an Xbox zone, an arcade, and the North Star, and that's not even covering it all.
And we want to see how much we can squeeze into 2 days.
And hopefully get a chance to relax as well. It is a weekend after all. The major attractions like iFly, the North Star, and the Flowrider offer complimentary sessions, but these are limited and book out quickly. They're also available to book at a cost, providing longer sessions at preferred times. The arcade and many of the table-style games found in the multi-story Seaplex Sports Zone are an extra charge payable by tapping your SeaPass card. And as for the SeaPass card, like other cruise lines, it's both your room key and your payment pass. You can either load cash in US dollars when you board the ship, or connect a credit card or debit card to your account during online check-in. That's definitely the most convenient setup, but for those of you outside of the US, be mindful that all onboard purchases are in US dollars, so using a credit card might attract currency conversion fees. First up though, we visited the Windjammer for lunch. This is one of the main dining venues on board, open for breakfast, lunch and dinner every day. Royal Caribbean's buffet layout and variety is one of the best in the business, and although it can become chaotic at peak times, the design means people can easily circulate and find what they might like to eat. There's a really solid variety, including classics like roasts, sides and other proteins, a whole range of vegetarian options, easy grab-and-go style foods, and cooking stations, with chefs preparing pastas and stir-fries. It's impossible to go hungry. Of course, there are desserts too, and drink stations with basic included beverages like iced tea, coffee and milk, and during breakfast these extend to offer fruit juices. Soon after lunch and getting a bit of filming out of the way, it was time for a sail away party, and it was a stunner, with Queensland putting on the perfect autumn afternoon for Quantum's final Brisbane departure. The upper deck ignited with music and chatter, and the poolside vibe really set the mood for what was clearly going to be a fun couple of days. Earlier, we had seen that bumper cars would be operating in the Seaplex from about 4:30, so near the tail end of the sail away festivities, we walked over to the Seaplex but were met with a queue that spanned the entire perimeter of the court. Arguably the most popular of Quantum's attractions, and with only 2 sessions scheduled during the entire cruise, it's understandable that it would be busy, but that was too much of a queue for us, and besides, we had to get ready for dinner. When you've only got 2 nights, every meal has to count. So tonight we were starting at Chop's Grille, one of Royal Caribbean's most popular and longest standing specialty restaurants.
It still remains one of our favourite restaurants on board, and specialty restaurants on board a Royal Caribbean ship. It is really, really good.
It is very nice. The food's always consistently good. Steaks are always cooked well. The sides are delicious. The service is exceptional.
We were discussing how it sort of feels like if you don't want to eat in the main dining room and have that experience, you can obviously pay to have a much more quiet and serene experience, but it does come at a cost, and that cost seems to be going up and up and up. It's now US $65 per person for dinner, so $130 US for 2 people converted to Australian dollars is a lot. Like, it's a fair whack for a meal.
Yeah, but in saying that, going to a nice steak restaurant on land back home is quite as expensive, if not more. I guess people come on board and there's everything that's included with their food. You technically don't have to go to the specialty restaurants to eat. There is a lot of food on board, but I think if it's a special occasion or if it's just a getaway and you want to sort of, treat yourself, highly recommend it.
I was a little surprised to see a supplementary menu with additional cost items, but even without ordering from it, we couldn't fault the meal. Compared to a similar restaurant on land, I think Chops offers good value for money, but compared to the variety of included options on board, it may be not as compelling. Still, if you do want to treat yourself and make the most of a night on board, I do recommend it. After dinner, it was time to see a show in 270. Quantum's Aft Lounge is a multi-purpose space that morphs from offering group fitness classes to loyalty and other group events to silent discos and of course showstoppers like Starwater. To help control capacity, this is a ticketed show, but there's no cost. Tickets can be reserved online ahead of your cruise or once on board. Starwater was put on 3 times during our cruise, so there was ample time to catch it.
We have no idea what this show is about.
I'm still confused.
The performers are amazing. So it was,
Costumes are great.
yeah, good costumes, fun music, sort of new versions of songs like Vogue by Madonna, which seemed to be, I thought, the only song for a good portion of the show, but in different styles. But it did end up sort of growing into something else. It was good.
I think the venue's quite fun. The stage comes up and they've got different angles. So, you sort of, wherever you're sitting in 270, I think you actually get a good vantage point. So, and they were running around through the crowd as well. So that was really good. Again, still don't know what it's about.
No clue.
There was a lot more on the schedule for night 1, but I had an early appointment to continue filming my full ship tour, so unfortunately after showtime I had to call it a night. I was up a little before 4 AM so I could get the remainder of my filming done, but it gave me the perfect opportunity to explore Quantum of the Seas without the crowds. Early birds do catch the worm if you consider the worm to be a spectacular sunrise. I never get tired of a good sunrise or sunset, and the ocean is the perfect place to catch them. For breakfast, we wanted something easy and fairly quiet, so opted for the Windjammer alternative, the Solarium Bistro. It's located in the adults-only Solarium, but it's open for travelers of all ages. It has a smaller buffet layout which is open for breakfast and lunch. It reopens at night with a more upmarket Mediterranean-style dinner, with main courses served a la carte. Breakfast was easy and light, and I really appreciated the quieter surrounds after my early wake-up call. Honestly, by this stage I felt tired more than anything, and my idea was to enjoy some rest and relaxation. On that front, Quantum of the Seas offers a few spaces that might suit those of you looking to avoid the action. My personal favourite is the adults-only Solarium. It's situated all the way forward, ensconced in glass and with phenomenal views. Cascading plunge-style pools lead the way down to the very front, from where you'll find oversized hot tubs, plus small open-air decks which are located above the bridge. It's definitely popular, so unfortunately you'll want to be there on the earlier side if you wish to snag a comfortable spot, but it's worth that time investment. For families or younger people, there's the choice of both an indoor and outdoor pool space. There's also a baby splash pool and a wave pool. The poolside movie theatre typically screened 1 or 2 movies per night. If you're the type that enjoys filling your days with activities, then you're pretty well covered on board Quantum of the Seas. The daily program is called the Cruise Compass. You can request a printed copy from your stateroom attendant, but otherwise you'll find a QR code in your cabin with a link to a PDF copy which you can access for free when you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi network. There was a solid lineup of options during our single day at sea. They covered everything from fitness classes to games, trivia, bingo, competitions, arts and crafts, a sushi making class, cupcake decorating, scavenger hunts, sports, production shows, entertainers, bands and musicians, parties, and more. If you enjoy having things to do, there's really no way you could be bored, particularly for those of you who enjoy traveling solo. Inside, Quantum of the Seas has a central esplanade that runs pretty much the length of the ship. It really feels like a small city, with shops, restaurants, bars, a pub, cafe, and access to a huge casino. It's a beautiful space, with the only significant downside to me being a lack of ocean views. The Quantum class ships can feel quite insular, as they almost cocoon you from the world outside. For us, the North Star, Quantum's crowning glory, was our main activity of the day. The Podlight capsule is attached to a crane, which ascends to around 90 meters above sea level before careening out over the side of the ship for one of the most unique perspectives on any cruise ship anywhere in the world. Being a sea day, this was an extended session, which attracted a fee of about $80 per person if booked online before the cruise. There's a basic experience available at no extra cost, typically while the ship is in port. In both cases, reservations are required and spots fill quickly, especially for the complimentary version. For lunch, we kept things casual again, choosing something light at the Windjammer in anticipation of dinner at Jamie's Italian, another Royal Caribbean specialty restaurant. For those looking to dine exclusively at fare-included venues, there's plenty of choice available around the clock. The main dining rooms operate with both traditional early and late seatings, as well as my time dining, and offer breakfast and dinner daily and lunch on sea days. There's also an in-room continental breakfast available at no charge, or a hot American-style breakfast delivered for a US $7.95 fee. Room service is likewise included in your fare, but deliveries attract that same pesky fee. Poolside, there's the on-deck Splashaway Cafe, which serves mini hot dogs and chicken tenders at no cost, but also offers a menu of various Asian-inspired dishes for a fee. The Seaplex Doghouse is another included casual eatery, and soft serve is available at no additional cost from the pool deck from late morning until the early evening. Cafe Promenade is open 24/7 with a basic array of snacks, while Sorrento's Pizzeria next door is open from around 11 AM until 2 AM daily, slinging pizza by the slice at no cost, and it becomes quite the hotspot at around 1:30 AM. Cafe 270 is open for most of the day from early morning until about 5 PM, and it offers a variety of wraps and sandwiches, soups, bagels, cookies and the like, depending on the time of day. There's so much in the way of included fare that there's really no need to spend any extra on dining unless you want to treat yourself. To that end, our dinner at Jamie's was really good, even better than I was expecting. At $55 per person, or roughly 91 Australian dollars at today's exchange rate, it's more affordable than similar restaurants on land. Everything we ordered was a hit. The food was so well prepared, and importantly, to me, well seasoned. Wanting to sample as much as possible, it's fair to say we overordered, but I would be lying if I said I regretted it. The only thing I didn't like was the lemon cheesecake. It had a strange rubbery texture, although admittedly by that stage, I was full enough not to care. In terms of specialty dining, and in addition to Jamie's Italian and Chop's Grille, Quantum also offers Wonderland, a sensory playground of sorts that you should go to at least once. There's also Izumi for sushi and other Japanese specialties, and the chef's table experience, which is considered the most extravagant of them all. La Patisserie and the pub also offer snack-style bites at a la carte prices. After recently travelling on board a P&O Australia cruise, one of their last ever in fact, it was more obvious just how well oiled the Royal Caribbean machine is.
As a cruise line, Royal Caribbean are very Caribbean, whatever, are quiet. They're on top of it. The bar staff are all over it, the waiters, everyone knows their job and is just doing it. It runs quite smooth. Now, I know that's not the case all the time, but we haven't been on Royal for ages, or couple of years now, and it just feels like we were on here a couple of weeks ago, and it's just so well oiled and it just runs smoothly.
There's definitely a slick operation behind Royal Caribbean that you can feel when you get on board. They know what they're doing, and they continue to do that really well. There's a consistency to their delivery and approach that I appreciate.
For context, we've spent 11 weeks across numerous voyages cruising with Royal Caribbean, so are well versed in both the good and the bad, and we're aware that amongst a crowd of almost 5,000, there was probably someone somewhere having a bad time during our cruise. But from our shoes, there's no doubt that Royal Caribbean knows exactly what it's doing. But whether it's a great cruise or not, the question becomes, is 2 days enough time to experience it all?
I think a short cruise, 2 days definitely I think is too short. But again, if you don't have much annual leave and you just want to get away, especially when they fall over a weekend sort of or part of, I think they're a great thing. You can try and jam pack as much as you can into it, but I get tired. I'm tired. I'm sort of feeling like I want to do this and that, and I think everyone sort of has the same idea. An example was the dodgem cars yesterday, or the bumper cars as they call them. That line was huge. Like,
the dodgem car queue was insane, and it is always one of the things that we talk about and we kind of know from experience on a short cruise, is that everyone wants to maximize their opportunities of doing things while they can.
Oh yeah.
Which is totally understandable, but it means that where you'll have queues and things for activities on a 2-day cruise, on a week-long cruise or a 10-day long cruise, that doesn't quite happen as much because people know they have extra time. They think, well, I won't do it today, I can do it tomorrow, or 4 days from
but
now.
I mean, like, the bumper cars, dodgem cars, whatever you want to call them, is such a draw card on this ship. The time that they sort of allocated, was it 4:30? That's too late, I think.
4:30 p.m. on boarding day, they started dodgem cars, and that went, I think, until about 7 p.m. So it's a strange time to do it as well because it falls over dinner for most
Sail
people.
away.
And I think that again causes more people to try and go in the earlier part, and it does clash a little bit with sail away as well. So 2 nights is still a fun time. I think it's just on a ship like this as well, being a Quantum class ship, there's so much on board. It does make you feel a little bit sometimes FOMO, frenetic, and you can feel the energy around. It does feel a little bit like that at certain points of the day.
I think that's the crux of it. A short cruise like this is really its own type of thing. For those of you toying with the idea of your first cruise, it might be tempting to choose one, but just know that the experience isn't a true representation of a longer cruise, where there's more time to try different activities and features, more time to connect with other passengers and crew, and of course the true beauty of cruising, which is exploring destinations, whether close to home or on the other side of the world. For the rest of us, it can be a super fun-filled weekend, but I caution those trying to make it a relaxing one. It can be challenging not to be swept into the FOMO of it all. For what it's worth, we'll definitely continue to sail on the occasional short cruise, but there's really nothing like unpacking your suitcase, knowing you'll be on board a cruise ship for a week or two. I highly recommend it. Let us know in the comments, do you think a short cruise is worth the effort, or a good representation of cruise life at all? Or do you prefer a longer voyage? As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
But before it does, we're getting on board the first, on board. But before it does, we're getting on board to check out,
But before it does, we're getting on board to check out the first ever quantum.
but before it does, we're getting on board. Okay. Was that all right? We're about to find out. Come with us. Stop it. We're about to find out.
That was great. Good morning from Ovation of the Seas.
It's not ovation.
Oh yeah.
And action.